Hey guys, it's Logan here with Hydra572, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Mora Knives Companion Heavy Duty. This review is a little bit of a formality because everything that I have to say about this knife has already been said by my testing video. If you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. I put this knife through hell and it performed just incredibly. Now, some of our longtime viewers might know that I have somewhat of an adverse reaction to hype. When a whole lot of people get excited about a certain blade, it raises my expectations, and then I tend to be more disappointed. It took me quite a long time to warm up to Chad's Paramilitary 2 for this exact reason, and I'll probably never own a Chris Reeves Sebenza simply because so many people hail it as the perfect EDC knife that I know I'm going to be disappointed. For that reason, it took me a hell of a long time to pick up a Mora knife. And frankly, in this case, that just makes me an idiot. These knives are incredible, and they fully live up to the hype. I have one of the cheapest ones here in front of you. They go up quite a bit. You can spend near $100 on a blade similar to this, I believe. This is the Companion Heavy Duty. That makes it their second or third cheapest one. The bottom line is that you can get this blade for around $17, and it's one of the more incredible small, EDC-capable woodcraft-style knives I have ever seen. A number of factors make this knife incredible. The two most prominent that come to my mind are its price and its weight. This knife and incredibly well-made sheath simply weigh nothing. I think combined they're about 5 ounces, and you get just a ridiculous shitload of cutting power for that little weight. In addition to that, you get a very capable bushcraft knife for under $20, and that seems incredible to many of us who have spent $50, $60, $70 on a blade that didn't perform in bushcraft as well as they wanted to. Now, that being said, before I hail this as an incredible woodcraft blade, note the blade size. It is right around 4 inches. You're not going to be going through 12-inch diameter logs. In fact, I struggled with that relatively thin diameter log, as you guys saw. So understand the limitations of a blade this size, but do know that I am recommending this blade as just an incredible workhorse in terms of what its edge geometry can handle, how comfortable its handle will be, all of those sorts of things this knife does incredibly well for bushcraft. Also, this is one of the few blades that I've seen that really made me believe that you could effectively EDC a fixed blade for your utility cutter tasks. If somebody had a job, or if they were just comfortable carrying a fixed blade of this size, this sheath is incredible. Very simple, very cheap to produce, I'm assuming, and very light. Got a little eyelet on the bottom to drain water. Essentially, it's just a plastic sheath with one retention point, but it does its job damn good. The belt clip is pretty good. Sort of a bitch to get off your jeans, but I guess that's the least important part. I think if you had to be doing lots of cutting on cardboard boxes and this sort of handle felt comfortable to you, and it very much does to me, I think this would be a good choice, provided that you could swing it for whatever reason. People do have different reactions to fixed blades than they do folding knives. I'm not sure though. Some people might view this more of a tool, whereas they might see a folding knife as more of a toy or a weapon. Who can really tell with sheeple? All I know is that this blade is incredibly ergonomic. It has great cutting power due to a very simple edge geometry, as you guys can see there, and this blade is just a workhorse. I'm quite happy to have picked one up. The retention on the unidentified carbon steel blade, I'm sure someone will come along and remind us what the carbon steel that Mora Knives uses is, but the retention is just incredible. You guys saw in that wood cutting test, and then recently I took this blade out and did some gardening. I was cutting bags of dirt, cutting the pots around plants, and the edge on this thing has just held spectacularly. I did have to sharpen it after that wood cutting task, and it was about like you would expect for a hard carbon steel. It wasn't too difficult to figure out. As you guys can see, the satin polish on this blade is very reflective, somewhat my own doing because I cut a couple of limes with this carbon steel blade, posted a photo or a video on Instagram showing the corrosion that happened overnight. Lime juice was pretty rough on this thing. Went ahead and buffed it out with my Dremel, the buffing wheel attachment, and now this blade is shining pretty much like new. I'm pretty hard up for negative things to say about this blade. Understand that with carbon steel we do have that corrosion factor if you live in a very humid area, or if you're prone to doing a whole lot of tasks like cutting acidic fruits and vegetables, things like that. This might not be the best blade for you unless you want to invest in anti-corrosion type products. Other than that, the edge comes at 27 degrees from the factory, and that wasn't giving me great cutting performance right out of the box. I gave it a couple swipes on the sharp maker, and this thing really started cutting like a beauty. I don't know if that's because this thing had sat in a retail shop for a while and people had played with it, or if I got one that had a slight quality control issue, but literally 2 swipes on the sharp maker and a couple of swipes across the strop, and this thing was hair whittling, and it is back there again after being wicked edged. The very simple flat grind has this knife excelling at a variety of different tasks. I've used this thing for food prep, I've used it for backyard type work, and of course EDC utility cutting, and that very abusive woodcraft task that I put this knife up to, and it has just excelled all the way around, minus the corrosion. The handle is pretty ergonomic. We have a rubber polypropylene coating here, and then some hard plastic bits at the top and bottom of the handle, and it is pretty dang ergonomic. They say that it is for large and oversized hands, and I believe I see what they're talking about. If your hands were larger, you would still be able to get good purchase on this material. So far, with the material wet, cold, things like that, it seems to hold up pretty well and still be a secure grip. Overall, this knife is just an incredible little package, and it costs no money. I mean, it's $17 from Blade HQ, a little bit cheaper if you shop around on Amazon, places like that. And for that much money, you are getting an incredible fixed blade. And from now on, when people ask what EDC knife they should get, and if they want to spend less than 20 bucks, I know what my answer is going to be. I mean, EDCing a fixed blade is a little bit unconventional, but this sheath makes it pretty dang easy. This is just an excellent profile for an EDC blade with that clip point. Overall, I am just in love with this blade. Slight negatives that I could think of, pretty much just the corrosion resistance. Other than that, I mean, it takes a little bit of time to put an edge back on a hard carbon steel. Other than that, I am just hard up for negative things to say about this blade. I thumped it like hell. I've used it to cut dirty stuff. It's cleaned up really dang well. I am just thrilled about this blade, and I plan on owning more Moras. However, if you pick this blade up and you don't like it, you're only out 17 bucks, and you have a decent knife that you can throw in a bug-out bag, anything like that. I want to investigate larger knives made by Mora Knives, and I will be doing that soon. Until then, this is going in my bug-out bag as another blade for me to use in that scenario. I really, really wish that some other cheaper fixed blades would come with sheaths this good. I mean, I would love to see Cold Steel's fixed blades come with this kind of sheath, this simple Kydex, and nobody wants nylon anymore. And this is a really, really good sheath system. Very simplistic, very light. The whole knife, very utilitarian, simplistic, light, well-designed, ergonomic. Overall, just a good quality product from what appears to be a high-class company. And the great thing about them is you can spend 17 bucks on a blade that you're planning to take out and just absolutely thump until it's trashed and then throw it away. Or you can spend 100 bucks on something a little bit more artisan style, a little bit more handcrafted with those red handles, the wood, everything's well finished, and that would be excellent as well. In terms of build quality, I suppose there's another petty gripe, but for $17, I just can't muster it to be upset about little molding things like here, there, you guys see little itty-bitty marks from the molding. Absolutely not a problem in my mind because $17. Who are you kidding? Overall, just an incredibly bang for your buck option for the fixed blade utility cutter, possible small bushcraft knife, food prep knife, all sorts of things like that. I don't really see this knife as a tactical or emergency defensive knife. I'm sorry, let me revise that. I don't see this as a defensive knife. I do see this as an emergency defensive knife. If this was all I had on my hip and somebody was trying to attack me and I needed to protect myself, yeah, you're damn right I would use this. But if I was at the armory table getting ready to go out on some sort of operation, this isn't the knife that I would pick intending to use to fight people. I think that pretty much speaks for itself. Its design just simply isn't that tactical fighting knife sort of design. It is more of a bushcraft type option. That's what they designed it as. Anyways, at this point I'm just rambling. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If for some reason you, like me, have resisted the hype up to this point and not picked up a Mora knife, pick up a Mora knife. It actually lives up to the hype. I think the cutting demonstration that I did proves that pretty dang well. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more of the same.